to this week's SoCal Multifamily Sales Pulse. This is the only publication tracking the markets this closely. We see trends before they're reported anywhere else, so please check in and make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, Mike's Multifamily Minutes, so you never miss a video. And to get a full understanding of the current market conditions, make sure you visit my website, MikeLembeck.com, for the full report with all the charts and stats. Okay, starting off this week, if you're considering selling or doing a 1031 exchange, one thing to be aware of is a recent report by Green Street that said while prior administrations have suggested ending 1031 exchanges, chances are better now that it will happen. One of the differences this time is the amount of stimulus that's been pumped into the economy. And, not surprisingly, policymakers are looking for revenue to offset the debt that has been created. Some owners are choosing to sell now, even though doing so would incur taxes, and others are waiting to see what happens with the tax code. So feel free to give me a call to discuss your options and whether or not it makes sense for you to sell now or wait. Okay, let's look at Orange County now. Orange County had 21 closed sales last week. This is the highest number of weekly closed sales we've seen in several months. And the closed sales average days on market remain low at just 29 days. And out of the 21 closed sales last week, there were 13 transactions that sold at or above the asking price. And Orange County's sale of the week was a 6-unit building in Fullerton on Porter Avenue. The 6-unit building was built in 1958, and all the units were 1 bedroom, 1 bath. The property is located on a cul-de-sac in what's known as the Porter Avenue Villas. It was listed at $1,475,000 and it sold for list price, all cash, as soon as it hit the market. And it was previously on the market for 407 days at $1.5 million, but never sold. The property sold at $375 per square foot, and there was room to actually increase the rents by about 10%. And as far as listing inventory goes, we had 6 new listings last week. This is quite a bit off the norm for Orange County. Orange County typically averages about 10 to 15 new listings per week. The months of inventory dropped from 4 months previously to just 2 months currently. And with the absorption rate dropping from 2.63 months to just 1.75 months, this is the lowest absorption rate out of all 5 Southern California counties. And the Orange County multifamily market just keeps getting tighter and tighter. Okay, let's look at the 3-year trend charts for Orange County. The number of sales, monthly sales, overall activity was up last month. And the days to sale average was up slightly but remained in the 30s, still at a very low point. But the big story is the number of active listings dropped down below 200 for the first time in the past 3 years. And the number of new listings last month was just 68 new listings. This is the lowest number of new listings we've seen since December of last year. Okay, let's take a look at Long Beach multifamily closed sales last week. We had 10 closed sales last week. This is about average for Long Beach weekly closed sales, and the closed sales average days on market was lower than normal at just 22 days. Out of the 10 closed sales last week, 6 transactions sold at or above asking price, and 5 closed sales were all cash transactions. This week's Long Beach sale of the week was a 8-unit building located on 62nd Place on the peninsula in Long Beach. The property, 8 units, 4 were 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and 4 2-bedroom, 1 bath. The property was built in 1964. It was originally listed at $3,300,000 and sold for $3,475,000 in 15 days. This property is just one building from the sand. This is a perfect value add property as most, if not all of the units are in need of upgrading, and the rents were low and could be increased by as much as 20 to 50%. Let's go back and take a look at the listing inventory for Long Beach. Last week we had 6 new listings, and listing inventory remained below 100 for the 4th consecutive week with 98 total number of active listings. And the months of inventory dropped to 3 months after being at 5 months previously. The active listings dollar volume dropped to just over 230 million and hasn't been this low in months. Long Beach absorption rate dropped from 3.21 months to just 1.98 months. This gives us a further indication that the Long Beach market continues to be highly desirable for investors. Okay, let's look at the 3-year trend. The 3-year trend for number of sales. The last month was 49 closed sales after just 33 closed sales in the prior month. And the monthly days to sell average continued to drop, and the active listings number is now at its lowest point since January of 2020. So if you're considering selling your Long Beach apartment building, now would be a good time since inventory is at a low point not seen in almost 2 years. Okay, let's take a look at Los Angeles County multifamily closed sales. Last week we had 97 closed sales. That's a strong week in closed sales for Los Angeles County. The closed sales average days on market was 44 days, which is right about normal for LA County. Typical days to sell for LA County is around 40 to 45 days. Just about half, or 47, of the last week's closed sales were transactions that sold at or above the asking price. And out of the 97 closed sales last week, 40 were duplexes. The Los Angeles County closed sale of the week was a 6-unit building located in Torrance on 206th Street. And the property was originally listed at $1,180,000. It ended up selling for $1,225,000 in 3 days. The units were 4 1-bedroom, 1 baths, and 2 1-bedroom, 1 bath. There was a pretty significant upside in rents of around 25 to 30%, and the property sold for just over $204,000 per unit and $315 per square foot. Last month's average price per square foot for LA County was $505. Okay, let's take a look now back at the listing inventory for Los Angeles County. Los Angeles County had 118 new listings last week. Listing inventory fell back down below 1,800 listings after moving above 1,800 listings in the prior week. The absorption rate increased, going from 3.75 months previously. It's now at 4.08 months. And the months of inventory increased from 10 months previously to currently 11 months. Looking at the 3-year trend, the days to sell average fell to 40 days, and this is a low not seen in over 3 years. The total number of sales was down slightly from 420 or down to 422 sales, but this is the lowest it's been in about 6 months. Okay, San Diego County had 11 closed sales last week. San Diego County continued with a low average days on market, with properties selling on average in just 15 days. Out of the 11 closed sales, 8 closed sales were duplexes, and 8 of the closed sales were transactions that sold at or above asking price. There was only one all-cash transaction last week. For San Diego County listing inventory, there was 22 new listings last week. This is about normal for new listings per week in San Diego County. Months of inventory dropped from 15 months previously to 11 months currently. The total number of active listings dropped back down below 200 after being at 200 listings in the prior week. The 3-year trend chart we're looking at is the number of monthly sales increased to 103 total closed sales, and this is the second highest number of monthly closed sales in the last 3 years. And the days to sell average dropped to the second lowest it's been in the last 3 years, to just 20 days. New listings plummeted from 169 new listings in the previous month to just 125 new listings last month. All right, let's look at Riverside County now. Riverside County multifamily had 5 closed sales last week. That's down from 6 closed sales in the previous week. The closed sales average days on market was 37 days. This is pretty much average for Riverside County days on market. Out of the 5 closed sales last week, 4 closed sales were transactions that sold at or above the asking price. And there were 3 FHA financed closed sales last week. And let's take a look at the listing inventory for Riverside County. We had 10 new listings last week. The listing inventory was back at or above 100 listings last week, with 100 total number of active listings currently. Riverside County's weekly listing inventory typically runs between 95 to 105 listings per week. The months of inventory increased from 3 months previously to 4 months currently, as the absorption rate increased from 2.74 months previously to 3.29 months currently. And that's looking at the 3-year trend, the number of monthly sales. We see the number continued to drop with just 29 total closed sales last month. And this is with the number of active listings remaining strong and pretty steady. Okay, let's look at San Bernardino County now. San Bernardino County had 8 closed sales last week. Half of those closed sales were transactions that sold at or above asking price. The closed sales average days on market was 132 days. That stat was skewed by one property being on the market for 612 days and another property being on the market for 227 days. If we remove those 2 closed sales from the stats, the closed sales average days on market drops to a more normal 36 days. The San Bernardino County listing inventory, we had 8 new listings last week, putting the total number of active listings at 136 listings. This is down from the most prior weeks, as listing inventory in San Bernardino County usually runs on average of about 150 listings plus or minus. The listing inventory hadn't been in the 130 active listing range since July of last year. The 3-year trend chart for number of active listings in San Bernardino County, it shows a gradual downward trend, and the average price per square foot rocketed up last month to $336 per square foot. The number of monthly sales went back up to 60 closed sales last month after dropping down to 48 closed sales in the prior month. Okay, that's it for this week's SoCal Multifamily Sales Pulse. This week, there were a lot of changes, with absorption rates decreasing, indicating it's still a strong seller's market. The lack of inventory situation hasn't changed, and the number of monthly sales increased in most areas. You can look at all the charts and stats in detail at your own leisure in the full report on my website, MikeLembeck.com. If you're a tired landlord looking for an out on the moratorium situation, Reach out to me regarding special pricing on listing and selling your property quickly. Or if you're experiencing a tight cash flow situation, have a look at our property reposition program or our shared equity program that allows you to make improvements with no money out of pocket. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mike's Multifamily Minutes, so you never miss a video. See you next week.